Governor, let's start with agriculture's current prosperity and your reaction of that, of whether it's giving Iowa economic boost to an overall recovery from recession.
Well, you know, I was governor at the onset of the farm crisis in the 1980s. This is quite a contrast to that. Today we have outstanding commodity prices, and we have a tremendous export demand, and through biotechnology we have a lot of new opportunities to make products out of what we produce in Iowa. So I think it's really the strongest part of the Iowa economy as compared to the 80s when it was the weakest part. We obviously need to work at bringing other business and jobs to Iowa as well, but I think the strength of agriculture has made Iowa's situation better than other states. I still inherited a financial mess in our state, and our country is in huge trouble because of the huge increase in the national debt that's going on year to year, and we know that's not sustainable. So we're going to have to make some big and difficult decisions here at the state level. I put together a 2-year budget and a 5-year projection, and each year we're spending less than we're taking in. This is an austere budget. We're spending less than we spent last year. I think it's essential that we do that, and I'm willing to take the heat to do that to get Iowa back on the right track. But I think in the long term, by making those changes and then also reducing some of the tax and regulatory burden on business and agriculture and communities, we can grow this economy, and that's where my focus is. And I'm doing this jobs tour of Iowa, calling on Iowa citizens to ask their legislators to give me the tools I need to reduce the tax and regulatory burden. Just today, I signed an executive order requiring a jobs impact statement on all new government regulations here in the state of Iowa.
Could you explain a little bit more of what that means as far, there is a federal effort right now to get the EPA to reconsider its regulations and how they impact business. Is there a parallel?
Yes, there is a parallel, and in fact, somewhat, the EPA regulations are being enforced by the Iowa DNR. I recently appointed new members of the Environmental Protection Commission because there was a lot of concern that they were going beyond even what the federal government was requiring, and we need to get people with some common sense and some experience in agriculture and business on that commission. So we hope to change that very dramatically. Some people think that the EPA is trying to enforce by rule what they couldn't get done with the cap and trade law, and that is very damaging to our state and to other Midwestern states.
Governor, are you concerned at all about the federal deficit having an overarching impact on Iowa business, and if it's not reduced?
I am. I think many citizens are very concerned. When you see the federal deficit go up $1.4 trillion last year, $1.5 trillion this year, it's not sustainable. And then we see Obama health care adding another 100,000 people to the Medicaid rolls. We can't afford it, and it needs to be changed. And I think they also have to cut the level of spending at the federal level and also take on these entitlement programs. Right, just at the state level, the Medicaid entitlement, which is a federal and state entitlement program, when I left office, it was less than 12% of the state budget. It's now more than 22% of the state budget. And in other states, it's even worse. So this has got to be dealt with.
May I ask you, looking at agriculture again, compared to 1980, I mean, you had such a breadth of experience. What do you think we're doing right in agriculture now that we've improved on since 1980?
Well, first of all, we don't have the debt load we had back in the 80s. So people have been a lot more careful about managing their own situation and not getting too much into debt. Secondly, we've had a lot of increase in technology. GPC, using the GPC and also precision agriculture.
GPS.
I'm sorry, you're right.
I was trying
GPS.
I was working to go with you on that.
No, GPS is the right term.
Right.
So everybody, my brother has got this in his equipment, and they use that so that you don't overuse chemicals and fertilizer, and you use just strategically the right amount. So the technology has changed things dramatically. Livestock production has gotten just a lot more. Well, now the hog has a different ration every week of their life, and so farmers are, and also the use of minimum till and things that reduce soil erosion and whatever. So we just have a much better farming just the way we're farming, I think is just a lot better, reducing some of the environmental problems, and then also the increase in the world economy and the demand from places like China and Korea and India. As their economies improve, they're using more and more protein and more meat, and that opens up new market opportunities for us. So agriculture is really, I think, facing some great opportunities in the future.
Since you mentioned China, would you like to give an overview of what you wish to accomplish during your trade missions to Korea and China?
Yes, well, we see we obviously want to see the U.S. Free trade agreement with Korea approved. We think that could triple, maybe quadruple our pork exports. We also are already selling a lot of commodities, corn and soybeans, into China. We see other opportunities there. Also manufactured goods. Vermeer Manufacturing does quite a bit of business in that part of the world, as do a number of other Iowa companies. I hope to open up that market opportunity for more smaller Iowa companies that'll go with me on this trade mission. We see there's a great opportunity there. Right now, China has become our #1 purchaser of ag products. They've surpassed Canada. Canada, I think, is still #1 in overall imports from the United States, but in agriculture, China is now #1 and very important market for us. We want to make sure that they know that we can provide a safe, reliable food supply, as well as feed and other items, and also we see opportunities to market some of the manufactured goods that we produce in Iowa.
Final question of our prepared ones, and that is about this legislative session. Is there anything in the bills now that could address increasing sales of ethanol, paving the way for E15 or E85?
Yes, presently we have an incentive program for E10. I think it's really kind of basically outlived its usefulness. I think we ought to change it to make it an incentive program for E15. It basically helps the petroleum marketers, provide some assistance to them, and the result is E10 sells for 13 cents a gallon less than regular gasoline does in Iowa. I think we ought to change that to make the incentive more on E15 or higher. I happen to believe in E85. We started the state fleet with E85, and Iowa has, since when I was governor before, been a leader in renewable fuel vehicles. And we need to get more vehicles made that use renewable fuels as well, or use flexible fuels, because with the uncertainty we see right now with the oil situation in the Middle East, oil back over $100 a barrel, I think it shows how important renewable fuels are for our future, and we're fortunate that we are the leading ethanol and biodiesel producing state. We need to do all we can to enhance and improve the marketing of those products in our state and throughout the world.